watching the show, me and Jason have been arguing, debating, to put it lightly, on many different issues. We come from different perspectives, but one of the biggest arguments we've been having is, of course, over Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov, however you say his name, who, of course, met in the ring yesterday at the big UFC event, which was marked by controversy. And I want to continue this debate going, Jason, because politically, I see this thing as Khabib Nurmagomedov being like, in political terms, being like a Dick Cheney, and then Conor McGregor being like a Ron Paul in this entire situation. That's how I see it, but I know you see it totally different, Jason.
I mean, I don't even know how you make that analogy at all. It sounds absolutely 100%.
I could explain. Well, Khabib Nurmagomedov, he's like a Dick Cheney, Henry Kissinger type to me because he is very closely tied into a dictator in his neighboring country. There is also a Russian oligarch in jail that was a major supporter of him, and his main manager, Ali Abdelaziz, Conor McGregor said, was caught on an airplane on September 11th with 5 passports, with him knowingly being tied to a terrorist organization and then later cooperating with federal authorities to be, as Conor called him, a snitch. So there's a lot of murky little ties there. And plus, he acts kind of very thuggish. Good old humble Khabib. Everyone in the media, including yourself, you're like, he's cool, he's calm, he's collected, he's humble. He really wasn't that humble last night, Jason.
I would disagree in full with everything you've just said. You cannot disrespect. First of all, the man's name is pronounced either Khabib or Habib Nurmagomedov. Let's respect the champion, the undefeated, undisputed champion that laid out the pummeling, the piss-pounding that I've been predicting since this fight was announced in the fashion I said he would. Made the tap dancer tap. The little tap dancing man that likes to talk the trash. He likes to throw things at buses and get glass in people's eyes. He likes to attack women. It's okay. That's all fine. No. That's all fine. Now let me say this.
Wait. Hold on. That whole incident that you're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. It was started because Khabib and his 40 thugs decided 40 thugs. Yeah, there's video of them. To attack Conor's good friend and slap him. That's not a very manly thing to do. That's kind of he started the whole darn thing. Like, he started the thuggery by literally surrounding Conor's friend and slapping him. That to me shows that, that's not really manly behavior. That's not really honorable behavior, to say the least. That started this entire madness.
Oh, yeah, we're going to say he's the one that started the entire madness after he'd been ducking him for years. All I'm going to say is this. I'm not approving of any kind of wild violence that took place after these fights. I'm not going to endorse it. That's not what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? I will say that no matter how Dana White postured himself and how, they punish him via the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Yes, the governor of Nevada was there. They had Mel Gibson in the audience. Star-studded event. I get it. Looks bad all around. No matter what. Hold on. Let me finish.
The governor had to be evacuated and run out of the stadium.
Yes. No matter how they spin it, how many fines they pay, all that stuff, Luke. When they have Khabib probably fight for the Super Fight 170 title in Moscow, the amount of pay-per-views and money that's going to make. I mean, Conor's pretty much done in MMA. He's a name. They could make some money on the Nate Diaz rematch.
He's probably going to fight Anderson Silva after this, to be honest.
I mean, you know what? If they gave him the right amount of money, I'm sure they could make it at a catch weight at like 175.
Well, Conor already signed a contract for 2 other fights, so he is going to be fighting 2 other fights inside of the UFC. Khabib may retire, and he talked about retiring and leaving the sport after winning this victory.
Yeah, he's not going to. That's ridiculous. That was talk. He's not retiring. He's the man. He with like 5-6 more victories could.
He's not a man. He even yesterday when he did the press conference, he talked about how his dad is going to smash him. Mm-hmm. He's afraid of his dad. He's a 30-year-old man who is again.
How dare he have respect for his father, Luke? I know, unbelievable.
Let's call a spade where a spade needs to be called out. He is the dominant fighter in the UFC. He is the best fighter in the UFC. I give him that. Sure. But as a 30-year-old man, as the most dominant fighter in the world, you're talking about being afraid of your dad smashing you? That shows.
If not
you
your
the type of
father,
person
but
he is.
who?
This man didn't even give a damn when his child was born. He was like, "Yeah, my child was born. I don't care. I was fighting that day. I didn't need to be there." That's the type of person that we're dealing. This is why I don't like Khabib, because it's like. And again, also during a press conference yesterday, he was like, "I'm going to change the game so there's no trash talking. You cannot talk about my religion. You cannot do this. I'm going to change it." No, that's thuggery. That's you enforcing your will upon other people. I think trash talk is a wonderful element of this entire game. It's mind games. It's psychological. It's awesome to see. It's far just beyond brute sports, which I could understand some of the comments going on in the comment section saying this is just brutal meatheads. No, this is very psychological. And the trash talking element, which Khabib wants to change, is a huge, awesome part of it. And he's doing it with just pure thuggery, with not acting like a man, acting dishonorable, attacking people in the stands. And I just don't like him. Have you ever played Mortal Kombat, Jason?
Big fan. Played them all. Beat them all.
Okay, so I was recently on a date, and then we decided to play Mortal Kombat. In Mortal Kombat, when you do play, right, you could just keep clicking one button if you get lucky, and the opponent that your other friend is playing can't get up, and you just keep hitting that one button on just one hit. Do you know that?
You try doing that with me, it is not going to end in your favor.
No. I was doing that with my friend, and and then obviously, Jason, I won. Was it fair? No. That's Khabib's game. That's
what?
His fight
Wait.
game.
Now you're trying to say he
Pretty
didn't
much
win fairly?
just grabbing on, cheating, pressing one button during Mortal Kombat. It's not entertaining. I don't like him as a person. All the other things around him are very controversial. And, I'm just disappointed that Conor lost. But, again, Khabib is the better fighter.
Hey, man, I'm sorry. Maybe I got some tissue across the way for some of those tears, my friend, because let me explain something to you. It's nothing like him hitting one button. In fact, there was one person that hit the ground from an overhand right, and it wasn't Khabib Nurmagomedov. It was Fancy Pants McGregor hitting the dust from a big old overhand right from Khabib. The idea that he has one thing in his toolbox that he was hitting one, no, my man. He has an iron jaw.
He's a hugger who grew up in a very cold household. He's a very cold human being. Mm-hmm. They put him against bears when he was a little child.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mindset that's being promoted onto people.
First of all, McGregor openly cheated Luke throughout the fight. Let me explain the rules of MMA, folks.
He just did a little grabbing of the gloves.
But listen, he put his hands inside of Khabib's gloves, and Herb the Fixes-in-Dean, he ignored it every time. Nurmagomedov is pointing it out to him, going, his hands are in my gloves. Herb, old Fixes-in-Dean, he's like, no. He used the cage. He had his toes in the cage constantly, his fingers in the cage constantly. He still couldn't stop him. Look, again, I don't approve the aftermath.
And then call it like it is. Khabib went crazy, started attacking people in the crowds, and then his crew started sucker punching Conor McGregor.
Whoa. I mean, there's talk out there he may have thrown the first punch inside the cage.
And again, you got to say one thing about Conor. Conor does have sportsmanship, especially after he loses, especially when he lost to Diaz. He always comes very humbly and says, yeah, he was the better man. He doesn't pull any of that crazy stuff.
You, dude. All right, whatever. Listen, how about this?
He doesn't pull any crap at Khabib. We got some super chats related to this. Jesse
That's what
Schmidt.
I'm saying.
Do you want to get to them?
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, Jesse Schmidt, who has been a part of this conversation, and thank you for the super chats. And guys, if you're piling in right now on the live stream, I want to assure you we are going to get to real news. We couldn't not cover this. We've been talking about it forever. It's all over the pages. So let's just go down the line here with Jesse's chats. Jason, when bans Khabib from America, will you renounce your love of government? Just kidding. Congrats on the prediction. Khabib is a douche. Let me say this. There's a good chance he'll never fight in the U.S. again. You know what I mean?
But you pull stupid stunts.
Yeah? But here's the double standard. The Ruski won't get back in because there's a lot of propaganda against Russia. Conor's making claims about 9/11.
Well, it's not Russia. It's Dagestan, and again, the country that he is connected to that openly tortures and kills gays. That he has a very close relationship to the dictator of that country.
Wow, we're pulling that social justice card, bro. Listen.
It happens.
I'm not saying that. Listen, I'm not encouraging the man's culture. I get it. He got a call from Putin.
Khabib is Dick Cheney. Ron Paul is Conor McGregor is Ron Paul.
You're out of your mind. Would Ron Paul or Rand Paul throw something at a bus of innocent people. So here's
They're
my
very
point.
articulate. Ron Paul is just as articulate as Conor is.
Listen,
especially in
McGregor barely got a
happening. All right.
misdemeanor for his stunt. And if they ban Khabib, which they might, he'll just fight in Russia or Europe or Japan or wherever and continue to beat people up until he wants to retire as the greatest 155 or possibly 170 pounder, because I think he's going to go up after this, of all time. Jesse, your next
I want to
question.
see a rematch so bad. I want to see a
not
rematch
happening,
between
bro.
Conor. It's not going to happen. You're right. Khabib's probably going to fight for a second title. Conor's going to fight probably Anderson Silva or Diaz. And then after that, maybe after the 2 fights that Conor's contracted to have again to prove himself, maybe again that would be another rematch in the future, but that would be at 2 to 3 years down the line, and I think it will happen. And I think again, I'm predicting Conor's winning the rematch.
I want to see Khabib and Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson, an amazing fight. He's a top level guy. He deserves to be in there.
Fighter, so entertaining as well, and also just another person that I really appreciate his like mental game and his kind of approach to it. But I gotta admit, like as I saw Conor walking into the ring and doing the announcement of his name, I knew he was going to lose. I already saw it in his face. He always has this either extreme confidence and this pure belief, this mental belief that yes, this is going to happen. But you could see a lot of doubt in his face. He was like, he wasn't as sure of himself as he was in other fights. And when he walked in the ring, I'm like, oh no, Jason's going to be right on this one, and Khabib's going to win this one. I saw it in his face, and that this is what I like about the sports game, because it's not just sports ball, put a ball in a hoop. It's extremely mental. Conor's predictions before that he made in other fights were extremely on point. He has been correct and has talked about the positive effect of visualization, the positive effects of mental warfare, and a lot of the hippy-dippy stuff that I get into. If you look at all pro people, whether it's Michael Jordan or any other people on the top of the game, they use mental visualization and the hippie stuff, the hippy-dippy stuff, in order to propel them to where they are. And Conor is one of them, and I saw that doubt yesterday, and I was like, damn, he's going to lose. And he did. And I wasn't surprised there. And Khabib was the better fighter, even though he was using the Mortal Kombat cheat, just pressing that one button.
There's no Mortal Kombat cheat, bro. And let me get to the next super chat, because it gets in on this right here. He says Khabib was triggered, this is Jesse again, because Daniel Cormier told him to stop stealing his lay and hump strategy. It's like the movie Highlander. There can only be one king of the lay and hump. And your Mortal Kombat analogy, of course, is the lay and hump strategy, right? That's what you're saying?
That's what they do. That's what Cormier does. That's what Khabib does. And I don't like Cormier just like I don't like Khabib, because it's boring fights and it's not entertaining.
Yeah, it's so boring when Khabib throws a right hand and knocks Conor across the cage, or when Daniel Cormier throws a right haymaker and knocks out Stipe Miocic. Listen, guys, stay off the sauce. I don't know what you're watching, but I'm watching mixed martial arts greatness. And speaking of mixed martial arts greatness, we have one more super chat, and we may be moving on after this. This one's from Avataz. Happy Sunday. Thank you, Avataz. Always part of the conversation as well. Derek Lewis knocked out the Ruski, that's Volkov, a.k.a. Drago, for Trump, #MAGA. What a fight that was. Listen, guys, if you didn't pay for this, and you're considering you want to watch it legally, this card was actually really amazing. And this Volkov-Derek Lewis fight was awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was. The whole card was just tremendous. It was awesome to see the fights that were produced last night, and a very emotional night for a lot of people, and it definitely broke out into that in just pure, utter chaos that, of course, everyone's talking about. And I admit, you were right on your prediction. I was wrong, and I knew it. I was wrong as soon as I saw Conor's face. We got one more super chat, also by Jesse. Thank you so much, Jesse, for all the support and joining in on the conversation here. He says, we can all agree Derek, my balls was hot Lewis, is the greatest American of 2018. His post-fight commentary was almost as entertaining than his last 10-second knockout that he committed.
After almost being knocked out like 3 times.
Ruski. Yeah, he was talking about Trump calling him, saying that he needs to knock out this Ruski to make America great again. He was talking about smoking weed with Joe Rogan afterwards. Entertaining guy, to say the least.
And his balls were so hot, Luke, that he actually pulled his UFC shorts off in the middle of the ring while he was doing the interview, and was just in his boxer briefs.
People are saying Medal of Honor for Derek Lewis. Oh yeah, entertaining night nonetheless. Obviously, I'm disappointed. Obviously, you're right. Luckily, we didn't take any bets. We were talking about taking bets and doing some stuff, but luckily that never happened. But I would have probably called off the bet as soon as I saw Connor's face. I was like,
I
"Man,
would have
he's a
ignored
loser."
my phone. You've been like, dude, come on, no.
I would have changed the stakes if there was a bet. But entertaining night to say the least. Anything else you want to say?
No, I guess, we just got to, again, make the point that Khabib did do the presser afterwards. 3 of his teammates were arrested. Conor did not press charges.
Conor did the right thing. No. They were arrested temporarily, and then Conor dropped the charges.
I said it, Luke. Yeah.
He did the right thing. And then Khabib talked about how he's afraid of his father. That's not a healthy relationship. A kid shouldn't be grown up fighting bears and be 30 years old, the top fighter of his time, and be afraid of his father. That is not the right thing to promote and push out there to the people. I'm sorry. I don't like him at all. Bad human being, and he's an a-hole for what he did last night. That's my point of view. That's what I have to say. Last comments on this, Jason?
Yeah, again, Putin called him. So look for a big fight out in Russia. I'm really looking forward to it. I think he's a top-level fighter. I can't wait to see what happens in the future. And people love a shiz talker. So, unfortunately, Conor McGregor will still draw the numbers, and the UFC will spin all of this violence to make more money. That's what I think.